We have an update. Remember the story that we brought you at Indisputable about a man who was arrested because he said something negative about the deceased Charlie Kirk, and the police came to his house twice, and then they proceeded to arrest him when he realized, hey, I live in a country where I'm allowed to say things you disagree with. He realized this and did it again. He gets arrested. That man has now been released. We have the update. Here it is.
And just to clarify, this is what they charged him with.
Okay.
Threatening mass violence at a school.
At a school?
It's referring to a school. I have no idea. That's what they've called us for, and I ain't got a clue.
I played on Facebook. I threatened no one. I know you don't give a
I ain't got a clue. I just had to do what I had to do.
I've been in Facebook.
I'm not saying you did or didn't do anything.
No, I did do, but I didn't think you committed a crime.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you did or did not commit a crime.
I may have been, but I'm
That's not illegal.
Larry Bushart Jr. is a local hero. Put it up for a mask. We have the update. You see, Larry, a Tennessee man, who was jailed on a $2 million bond after being accused of threatening mass violence by posting memes of President Donald Trump in a Facebook group organizing a local vigil to honor Charlie Kirk, has finally been released and cleared of all wrongdoing, as we said he would. Bushart had posted this image and a direct quote from Trump that read, "We have to get over it." That's what he got arrested for, ladies and gentlemen. If you recall, in the original reporting of this story, I talked about how the sheriff put his foot in his mouth, basically agreeing that they broke the law. There's more. Perry County Sheriff, they call him Nick Weems, an avid Facebook user, noticed Bushart's post. Weems had also posted his own emotional response to the news of Kirk's killing in September, warning about the, quote, evil in our midst. Quote, evil could be your neighbor, he wrote. Evil could be standing right beside you in the grocery store. It could be your own family member, and you never even know it. Now, during the original reporting, I noted that Sheriff Weems seems to be recovering from a cocaine binge. Put it up full mass again here.
He's drooling. Looking
Hey.
like he's drooling.
Sir, you allow your officers to come to work like that, sir? His paranoia was quite extreme based on his own written post. Weems contacted his investigator just under an hour later after the post in Lexington. Bushart wrote a 2-line post on Facebook at 7:53 p.m. Received a visit from Lexington PD regarding my posted memes on what's happening in Perry County, he wrote. The police had come to the behest of Perry County, being the Perry County Sheriff, he said, but did not elaborate. If he was concerned, Mr. Bushart, the neighborhood hero, did not show concern because he went back to posting after the cops left. At 9:48 p.m., Bushart shared a meme from a page called Blue Wave 2026, featuring an unhinged-looking Roseanne Barr. Quote, many MAGA are claiming that Obama used the pressure of his office and the FCC to get Roseanne canceled, just like Trump did Kimmel, it read, except Obama wasn't president in 2018. Care to guess who was? Now that's called a statement of fact. Okay, so there's a meme, once again, not generated by Mr. Bushart, simply reshared by the dear brother. He makes a statement of fact, correcting a false statement on record. It will be his last post that night, however, because at 11:15 p.m., the police knocked on his door again. This time, they had 4 Gestapo at the door, one of whom was holding a warrant for his arrest. A warrant? How did you get a warrant so quickly for something so, well, non-criminal? But I'm going to explain that. Which had been sent down from good old Perry County. Body camera footage obtained by The Intercept shows police following Bushart inside his house and waiting while he slips on his shoes. Doesn't seem to be high risk to me, fellas. You got a $2 million bond. That's a high risk warrant. Well, we have time to wait for you to put your slippers on, sir. Go ahead. No problem. There's more. When they handcuffed him on his front porch, they did lead him away. Arriving at the local jail, the officer with the warrant unfolded the piece of paper. Quote, just to clarify, this is what they charged you with. He told Bushart, pointing and reading aloud. Threatening mass violence at a school. What? Doing what? Wait a minute. Wait. Threatening who? A school? What school? Weems said the arrest was also approved by the district attorney, and they signed off on the arrest, as did a judicial commissioner. Weems had been happy to publicize Bushart's arrest at first. In the earliest news story on September 22nd, local radio station WOPC published the mugshot, along with a statement from the sheriff who said that Bushart's meme had alluded to, quote, a hypothetical shooting. Wait, sir? In your quote, you said a hypothetical shooting. I know you didn't go to law school. You don't really have to understand the hypothetical means make-believe. Hypothetical shooting, he says. A hypothetical shooting at a place called Perry High School. According to Weems, quote, that message caused considerable concern within the community, and we were asked to investigate. Really, sir? Somebody made you investigate a hypothetical thing related to the school system. School system say, we don't know what you're talking about. School system said, you never contacted them to warn them about this alleged violence against their students and their staff. I mean, what kind of sheriff are you, sir? If you are arresting Mr. Bushart for such an extreme, dangerous allegation, who are you, Mr. DA, to not warn the public school system of such an egregious attempt? Nobody called the principal. Yet, there were no public signs of any hysteria, nor was there much evidence of an investigation, nor any efforts to warn the county schools. Although the Perry County School District did not respond to messages from The Intercept, attorneys with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression filed a series of open records requests with the school district asking for any communications to or from staff pertaining to the case, asking for any communications to or from staff pertaining to the case, including terms like shooting, threat, and meme. In response, the director of schools wrote, no such records related to Bushart's case exist. Quote, the Perry County Sheriff's Office handled this situation, he wrote. In other words, they did this all by themselves. We don't have any record. We don't even know what you're talking about. Whatever this is on the county sheriff's department, has nothing to do with us. A few weeks later, Bushart was booked into jail. Sheriff Weems said that Bushart wouldn't have been taken into custody had he agreed to remove his post from the Facebook group. Sir, you just gave this man a few $1 million. You utilize the restriction of his free speech as leverage, saying he won't be incarcerated if he allows the government to restrict his constitutional right to free speech. That is what you have said. Let me read the quote again. Sheriff Weems said that Bushart would not have been taken into custody if he had agreed to remove his constitutionally protected post from the Facebook group. Weems said that's why officers were sent to Bushart's home to speak with him about the non-matter before taking further action. Authorities finally dropped the charges against Bushart after our reporting on October 29th. He lost his job in medical transport due to his month-long detention. Let's put up we got a picture, Mr. Bushart. I want to say to Mr. Bushart, sir, thank you for having the courage to stand up for your freedom of speech and standing up for yourself. You also stand up to many, and you stand up for many. Because of what you have done, you have reminded individuals of tyranny, of what tyranny looks like, of what rogue policing looks like, of what shredding the Constitution looks like, of what not listening to the rights of your citizens, what it looks like. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who other members of that community voted for or beyond. Understand this, if they are willing to knock on Mr. Bushart's door to arrest him, they are willing to arrest you. You have freedom of speech. He committed no crime. It is clear. All charges have now been dropped, but he spent a month of his life inside of jail. Sir, every day they made you spend inside of that jail, every day will work in your benefit for the damages and lost income that you suffered. And remember, the state will calculate not only the lost income and your pain and suffering, possibly punitive, but that jury can also calculate what you potentially would have lost or could have lost in future earnings as well. So while I know it had to be something quite horrendous to spend that much time in jail for freedom of speech, I believe you will be vindicated in significant ways beyond just having these charges dropped. So continue to stand up for your rights. You stand up for many. We appreciate your fight. All right, Jackson, thoughts here?
Yeah, a month of his life taken because some loser threw a temper tantrum. I mean, that's literally exactly what it was. And that's what's so dangerous about authoritarian structures is because it's filled with people who are just objectively insane or very emotionally immature who have the authority to do things like this because you said something bad about one of their leaders. And another thing that unfortunately he had to spend a month behind bars, but it also shows how big of a joke these people are behind it all, which is one of the benefits of modern day technology. Propaganda still does go far and algorithms do deliver people what they want to see rather than the truth a lot of the time. But nonetheless, Trump's approval rating continues to go down and everybody around him as well, because we're able to make fun of people like this. And so, that's as American as apple pie is roasting people online. So they can only go so far with taking that away.
Yeah. And it is ironic that the people who will claim free speech by raising $1 million for a woman who calls a baby a racial slur, and they would say, well, she's protected by free speech. We should not counsel her because of that. How much money are you going to give Bushart? How much will you contribute to his legal fund or his life beyond? Because he was just expressing free speech as well. He simply wasn't racist.